Jai His Divine Grace Srila Charana Bhakti Gran Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki iskcon Deputy Founder Acharya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Astatara Sata Shishimat His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakturanda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Brajami Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the Assembly devotees. All glories to the Assembly devotees. All glories to the Assembly devotees. Glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. So this is International Society for. Welcome to the International Society for those who knows.
Krishna conscious.
Krishna conscious, yes, you're right. So this movement was started by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, yes, as you know. But just I wanted to introduce Srila Prabhupada, and it was started in 1965 in New York, and today we are fortunate that we have the association of His Holiness Vedavayasa Priya Swami, who is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada comes in a disciplic succession all the way up to Krishna, unbroken chain of disciplic succession. So we are fortunate that we have His Holiness Vedavayasa Priya Swami Maharaj, who has been practicing Krishna consciousness for the last 50 years. He joined his International Society, Krishna Conscious Society in New York earlier, in about, he came in 71, and after that, since 1975, he has renounced, and he's with in this society, preaching all over the world. He travels everywhere, though he's from New York, but right now his base is like Vrindavan, but he's hardly there in Vrindavan. He travels all over, starting from Bangkok, Myanmar, Fiji.
And with my godbrother.
Yes, and this is also the Shivaraja Prabhu, who also, both of them, they took initiation together from Srila Prabhupada. So we are fortunate to him also. And Maharaj travels all over the world, Bangkok, Myanmar, Nepal also, then going back and here in Australia, Fiji, New Zealand, US, Canada, everywhere he's been traveling, and he has got a lot of disciples. He inspires us, a fallen soul like me, he inspires us to come into Krishna consciousness. So I'll let Maharaj speak on today's wonderful, we got Sikshastakam, which is written by his, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So he's Guru Maharaj will explain us on Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rajvijay, for introduction. Actually, this verse is applying to me. But we have to understand that our maturity in the human form of life will have to also apply in each of us. In order to have a higher destination, otherwise we have repeated in birth and death, in cycle of innumerable lifetimes. Because life is eternal. Whether we want to continue as we are as of now in this sin city called, but everywhere is sinful, all right, reactions are there. And we get entrapped in the workings of material nature. The body is very distinct from the life source, which is the soul. And soul is empowered by the super soul. So we have an opportunity in the human form of life alone to understand our reality, which is eternal. Many denominations in the world have accepted the existence of the soul, which is non-material in nature. It is directly part and parcel of the Supreme Whole, and in quality with the Supreme Whole, but not quantitative. It is so insignificant, but it is rekindled by the spiritual energy called consciousness. Consciousness, that is recognizing ability within ourselves through the senses, is spiritual in nature, but we pollute it and read it with our insatiable material desires. So the process of purifying ourselves from this material nature altogether and free from any attachment of the material nature, we will regain our original consciousness back. So in Kali Yuga, in this particular age and times, it's easily available through the holy names, which are infused with divine potencies. The divinity is in the name, the divinity is in the form, the divinity in the qualities of the Absolute, and the divinity in his pastimes. So it is not impersonal, it is personal. But it is the Supreme Person, and there is no one else can be supreme. Everything else is subordinate to him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. People, when they come to the point of understanding that I am the source of all that exists, the province of diffusing his energy, just like the sun is diffusing the energy, and it is everywhere in this particular universe where 9 planets are circulating, and they get the diffusion. But wherever the life is, at least in any form, has an atmosphere for the bodily conception of life to live. The life is existing there. Life in different forms. Today, so many news, even from Chile, or Peru, that they have found out some old mummies of what they call aliens. And they are exhibiting now. It's not only in Nevada desert that what they call Area 59.
51.
Oh, 51. Sorry. But life is everywhere. 8.4 million species of life. Our science today had hardly identified 2 million on this earth. And every year in the jungles of Papua New Guinea, they are finding more and more life forms which are never to be known before. It's coming from Papua New Guinea. So, in the jungles towards the Lee, and those jungles are so deep that man has not gone yet. And the scientists go, have you ever seen a transparent frog like a glass with the heart pumping with the red blood? But that's it is about 10 years back they found out. Every year they find out so new species of. So what the scriptures described is of the experience 8.4 million. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is enumerated. Jalaja Navalakshani Stavaram Lakshmavinsati Kramayo Rudra Samtrita, Pakshinam Dasalakshanam. Even there are 900,000 species of so-called Homo sapiens and related things. Not monkeys. Monkeys do not come into this. Darwin may have said, but we don't find any missing link. The idea is that as the desires and its combination which arise from three modes of material nature dictate even the formation of species, formation of the mentality, how in ourselves we are of different mentality. How do we have so many different kinds of desires? But they are as long as we can live. Otherwise, everything subsides. And spirit soul never dies. It is eternal. Na chayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya. Ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is no death nor rebirth. It is ever existing. But we call when it changes its body, then it becomes a rebirth. But that is also very faulty observation. Today the material science has even found out that every 7 years our cells are changing. But the person residing in this body may have approximately 14 reincarnation within this body. Yet the name of the identity of that person doesn't change. We have been given an identity by nomenclature. But that's pertaining to the body. But really it is not pertaining to the body. Our names, everybody's names, they are related to the theology, religious, scriptural, the participants in those. In every religion, they try to give the name, but in America, you may find something which is Dick and Harry, but in India also they have been putting Rinku, Tinku and Minku. It doesn't bear any meaning. They are all meaningless identities. But regardless, our identity is in relationship with the Supreme and his associates. All right? Check it out. You will find you have some relationship with them. Well, that is a distant thinking when we try to overcome. Generally, we avoid these things, but these are experience. So, International Society for Krishna Consciousness was founded in 1966 by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to bring this Vedic education back through the basis of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are so many books written based on this. So this Vedic literature became the authority in 1976. There were when we were new, relatively new, there were court cases. There were so many things that we have to undergo through, like deprogramming and other subjects. They were pushing this Krishna consciousness as a cult, which is a derogatory word, but we were successful to obtain a very fine and exactly what our scripture describes as the judgment of recognition. Because we have deep roots in our Vedic philosophy. Not all the relative recent situations of so many things are not much of any bearing, because these are all deviations and permutation, but it doesn't convey. There is big fight going on between the Congress and the BJPs in India about the word Sanatan. They want to eradicate Sanatan. How can you eradicate it? By the meaning of the word also it's impossible. Eternality is the character of the soul, you yourself. But you are expressing through the medium of a material nature, which is not your nature. It is an imposed nature. So all these educations clarify and put us on a platform of spirituality, which is anti-materialism. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 535 years back came, the Lord has appeared as his own devotee in order to encourage us, because Kali Yuga is very difficult. There are no prescribed duties of getting liberations even, because it is an ocean of fault. Kalau dosha nidhe rajan. Nidhi means ocean. Kalau dosha nidhi. Wherever you see there are discrepancies, not actual thing, and people use anything and everything, no honesty. Everything has declined in this age of Kali, which is shortest lived age, about 432,000 years, out of which 5,000 has already gone. But these are all Vedic calculations way back from in our Shastras. 5,000-year-old. They are apaurushaya. So we, not only by faith, but also we compare to the today's life of at least scientific knowledge, we see we have been given a better opportunity to understand in an educated way by Srila Prabhupada. He was a chemist. He did his BSc along with the contemporary freedom fighters. Subhash Chandra Bose was also one of his senior classmates, and in the same Motilal college. And there were many others. But Srila Prabhupada was spiritually educated by his spiritual master, and he wanted to preach in English and in English-speaking countries. Prabhupada was born in 1896, okay? And during his birth year, the predecessor Acharya, his Param Guru, was Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote in English because at that time, early time, he was raised by British East India Company. East India Company was formed in Calcutta. So his neighbors were many Britishers. He was coming from a royal, clan, but almost everybody perished during cholera, and he also got very sick, but somehow or other somebody, a British guy, would take care of him, got him educated, and fine. He became a magistrate of Jagannath Puri. And he helped the British government also, to reprimand those who are, fictitious old gurus of tantrums and other things. They will misguide the people and make their own, claim as God and this and that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur was well educated. He was ardent practitioner of Srimad Bhagavatam. He knew Bhagavad Gita very well. And then he was looking for Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life and precepts of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote a small treatise and sent to McGill University in Canada and British Museum of History, all these books in English. So the foundation of Vaishnavism and Gaudiya Vaishnavism was already there during this late 19th century. So there were predictions also. International Society for Krishna Consciousness has come under the pure disciplic succession of the teachers. And Srila Prabhupada was one of them, and he became successful to implant the seeds of bhakti in the Western country. He came without anything. Practically he didn't have any money even. And he came in a cargo ship with a free passage by one of, Sumati Murarji of Sindhyasti Navigation Company. And in her cargo ship, he traveled, in 1966. 1954, all the jet age has already started. But because he was not having any money, but his spiritual master told him, you should preach in English in the Western countries. So, just simply to execute the order without any external help, only a passage was required, and that too, she was one of the trustees of Srinatha Dwara, Srinathji's Sampradaya in Vallabhacharya, and she helped him. So when a devotee helps another devotee, the things will manifest. So he arrived in Boston Harbor, then he realized, oh my God, how did Lord Krishna brought me here? People are so much obsessed in sense gratification. How would I be able to teach this and? But he was not desperate. He had full faith on Guru's order and Lord Shri Krishna's mercy. His biography has been written with full interviews of the people who are associating with him at that time. Even a third party will come and sit on the bench in Central Park or even Washington Square Park area and will try to converse him. Oh, Swami, you came from India. Where are your temples? People were inquisitive. And Prabhupada would say, yes, there are temples all over the world. And there are so many disciples, they are taking care of it, but only the time is distancing ourselves. When there was nothing, he had this vision. And nobody was there to help. So his biography starts from taking shelter at Professor Misra. He was a yoga teacher in mid-Manhattan, in 59th Street, Columbus Circle area. And somehow, even when I arrived in 71 September, I had to look for job. We started job at $2 an hour. But within 5 days, a devotee was also there who was coming to maintain his family working, and somehow or other he would give me some prasad that he would bring from the temple. Then he gave me the card, and we were simply for 3 months at least, we were struggling to settle down. I was a biochemist. And when I was hired, they paid me less than a high school graduate of life. That was the time. But we didn't care for anything. You know, we were living in a cluster, what they call Vanda house. All the bachelors will be staying around. and the devotees started coming to me, only to see me and not others. They will look for me. They will bring prasadam, some folks. And so, association of the devotees is very contagious. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Slightest association with pure devotees of the Lord. And apparently when you see, they were drug users, zombies, you know, and they were talking seriously about Krishna consciousness. They would give me a gift of magazine, back to Godhead, and bring some prasad, and fine, I will distribute. But they will laugh, my friends will laugh at them. Then they started coming to my lab when I started the chapter. But that association proved to be factual, empowering. I was born in a pious Brahmin family, and I was doing Bhagavad Gita reading every day, the whole chapter. So many slokas would be residing, starting probably when I was in 10th standard or so. But regardless, I was inquisitive. I went to Swami Chinmayanan's seminar when I was doing my final MSc, you know, in biochemistry, and in Baroda. And he was giving discourses like this on Bhakti Yoga 12th chapter. I couldn't understand any damn thing. Because he was an impersonalist, and at the same time, he was not a devotee yet. He was a fluent speaker in English, and he would teach Bhagavad Gita on the impersonal aspects. Regardless, partial, but he cannot give full descriptions. Right? But nonetheless, it didn't give me any encouragement, even though I spoiled 3 days while studying. But when I came to the United States, everything changed. Right? Generally, I don't know what kind of crazy situation was there. When I applied, and I was in Uganda at that time, doing also research in soil science and agriculture chemistry in Makerere University. And then we have opportunity to migrate. Before Idi Amin did the havoc, you know, everybody knows that. Good. So he did it in 72. I left in 71 September, 6 months back before him. You know, but my parents and family, everybody was there. So they had their own experience. I came out, I tried to do everything what I can do, but at $2 an hour, how much money can you show? But when we became expatriate, we were allowed to take about $4,000, you know, equivalent. And that came later on. So I said, I can support you. You know, I can give you a bank letter, job letter, so you will not be a public liability. So a support letter will work. So I told him, you can apply, go to American Embassy. They were taking only 500 people. Canada was 5,000. and UK and other, they also were taking. But father said, I will go to American Embassy and work out. So, fine, he applied. He said, wow, you are an old man, but we are taking only graduates. You are not a graduate, you are. Then, sorry. When he was going out of the door, somebody called behind. Hey, can you come here? Can you help us? Because they saw in the application form that he comes from Madhvani Sugar Estates. You know, he was working for in East Africa, anybody, any connection, you will see. It was, Madhvanis were holding 80% of economy at that time. They have sugar mill, they have everything, you know. And he says, oh, you are coming from Madhvani? He says, yes. Can you help us? I said, what? Our embassy doesn't have sugar. Our embassy doesn't have sugar. Can you bring and help us? I said, why not? How much do you want? Bring as much as you can. That was the emergency at that time in 72, 73 area. So my father went and took 25 kilos of sugar and put in the taxi and went. And they gave him green card. So America was completely, what you call, unexpected turns around. So later on they settled. But I went further into devotional service. You know. So anyway, the idea is that is the kind of, you know, touch of association with the devotees, because the truth has been spoken out. And everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. So Bhakti Tattva is embedded in everyone. And we forget. Somebody should be there to remind us. Sanatana Dharma means eternal occupation. And that is a bhakti and nothing else. Jnana is not Sanatana. Dhyana is not Sanatana. Karma is not Sanatana. Only bhakti is Sanatana. So Srila Prabhupada presented this in a very scientific way, in an easily understandable way, in Indian English. You know, they were surprised what is an Indian English. But Indian connotations are different, you know. So the meanings are also different. You don't mean, but you write in such a way that people are perplexed, you know. So even though, but the system in spiritual literature is that tadavaga visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratislokam abadhavatapi namani anantasya yashavankitanani shrananti gayanti smaranti sadha. Those who are purified soul, they will take interest in reading such transcendental literature, however grammatically it may be faulty. They never mind. They want the essence. Just like Nirakshira Vivek of Hansa. Nirakshira, it can separate milk out of water and only take milk. In the same way, intelligent people, they have to take the real substance and not in a diluted form. The Sanatana is substance. It cannot be represented in a diluted form. So these teachings were coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in disciplic succession, and Srila Prabhupada brought it for the first time. So, I said this verse is applicable to sannyasis. So we'll all have to, come to that particular time and age for preparations of our own flight. Prabhupada said everybody has to fly their own aeroplane. If you say at that time, oh, I don't know how to fly, then have a crash landing. Okay. So, we have a definite destination to go, and it is eternal. While going once there, punarjanma na vidyate. Repeated birth and death will never be seen. You will be with the Supreme Home, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His abode. It is the factual, transcendental abode that one cannot even understand all this. But you have the ability to become transcendental because you are part and parcel of the transcendental whole, Lord Shri Krishna. And Krishna in Kali Yuga gave only one methodology, only one. Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kalau dosha nidhe rajan, asti eko mahad guna, kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangam param rajit. Mukta sangam. You will become free, liberated, and param rajit. You will go to your ultimate destination, where you came from. The soul is not a product of this material world. It's not a combination of that, what they call the primordial soup. No. This is science. And Krishna guarantees in Bhagavad Gita, pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam susukham kartum abhyayam. It will happen right before your eyes. How the transformation from our materialistic mentality first gets purified and you come to the reality, and once achieve that reality, you do not regret, because everything is achievable and much more in spirituality. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked this particular prayer that everybody has to apply sooner or later in their life. How to become detached from the false attachment that we have accumulated, whether in the matter form, in some kind of desire forms, or even mental forms of attachments. How to become free, how to become liberated, because that is the aim of every religion. Even in Islam, it is said, die before you die. Die of your own desires before you leave the body. That is the real death. It is said. It's not startling, but here in practice we see, you can repeat after me, please. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmani ishvare pavatat bhakti rahetu kitvaye. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, and a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service unto you. This is his prayer. Dissipating shadow bhakti. What is a shadow bhakti? Everybody thinks that we know devotional service. It is there, but it is in actual form or a shadow form. Are we thinking only but not executing? No. The principal symptoms of bhakti is loving devotional service to Krishna, Lord Krishna. The secondary symptom is freedom from all desires, anyabhilashita shunyam. Outside the path of bhakti, which is untainted by karma and jnana, anukulya Krishna anushanam. In bhakti, karma does not interfere, or jnana does not interfere. Bhakti is independent, just like Lord Shri Krishna. There is no bound on him. Only binding is of love and nothing else. We try to imitate this thing in our life also, using our own children as model. Mothers generally show, even fathers have some love for children. But if you see unconditional love, what is unconditional love? Mothers have experienced, those who have children, when the baby is born, she is completely helpless. And there is nobody else but the mother can help. And there is a natural inclination within the mother and child as a bond that is coming very closer to the love of Lord Shri Krishna for every living entity. But our love and experience is temporary, while Krishna's love is not temporary, it is eternal. Everyone, every life, every being, whether is an animal or a plant, whatever is living is part and parcel of the Supreme Holy Krishna. That is the Lord. Is not the Lord of only Hindus. Even they don't understand him. Because the force of material nature will make you animalistic. Force of material. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to mate, you have to defend. But dharmo hi eko jatra vishesho dharmena hina pasho vishramana. So, for human beings, the requisite application of one that sustains him, that is dharma. One which upholds him, that is dharma. What is upholding us? If we don't have Krishna consciousness, or Krishna's consciousness is one thing, but the consciousness which has been given from the super soul within the heart, then and then we become alive. If that consciousness is gone, you have to dispose him. So, karma and jnana, they are not prerequisite even for Krishna Bhakti. Real Krishna Bhakti, if you want to see, it is described that Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitya Janayatyasu Jnanam Vairagyam Chad Ahitukam. Jnana and Vairagya, these are the two sons of Bhakti Devi. Children come after the marriage. So, Bhakti Devi must unite with Krishna. Our Bhakti has to be offered to Krishna. Then the Jnana and Vairagya will happen. This is the verse of Vairagya Vidya. na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamai. Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhakti rahita kitve. I'm not afraid even to miss the opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. But I will wish that I will be reborn birth after birth, but for performance of ahetuki bhakti. On the other side, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kita janma ho yatha tu adas, bahirmukha brahma janme nahiyas. Devotees express their unflinching faith and adherence to Lord Sri Krishna, that even if I am reborn as an insect, please make me your devotee. I have to serve you in your favor. But I don't aspire to become a Brahma if I am averse to your devotional service. That position of the highest nature is not important. So, devotional service is unflinching, but it should be causeless and it should not be interrupted. Ahaituki apratiyata yayatma suprasiddhati. Then and then Krishna's attention comes to you. So we have to push ourselves. This kind of associations are required to push ourselves towards, implementation of bhakti and higher realm, and we have to start essential practices about that. So, International Society for Krishna Consciousness is for spiritual education. It is not simply a temple, but it is composed of all the aspects of Bhakti Yoga. Performing the arti is also part of Bhakti. Offering bhoga is also Bhakti. Anything that is not Bhakti is not allowed. But when people become professional, stay away from them. In this way, within a short time of 50 years, you can see we have about 600 temples all over the world without any denominational attachment to anybody. And they are all chanting, they all become vegetarian, they all become, desirous to come to India to associate with the places of pastimes of Lord Krishna. They want to witness. Such an empire from nothing, if you want to see this as a miracle, then please visit us. That is the way. Here also, how much struggle you have to go through building the temple. Things are there for our benefit. It's for the people in general to come. For whatever subordinate interest one may have, some may come to take prasadam, that's also okay, welcome. Because we know, we are confirmed, prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate. All the miseries can be mitigated by accepting prasadam. Mercy in the food. Have you ever seen mercy coming from the food? Such mercy of samosa may not come from restaurants, but it will come in our temples. Because it is offered with love to Krishna, so naturally we have to reflect that love upon everybody who comes. So, if the sadhak's attachment to the sensual pleasure is not severe, then his original spiritual identity does not become manifest. Spiritual identity can be only manifest in very clear consciousness. Means sinful activities have to be stopped. It's a voluntary thing. If you need a higher taste, give up the lower taste. Like that. So, the original spiritual identity does not become manifest, in which case bhakti, which is the intrinsic flavor of the Lord's Hladini potency, cannot be transformed into bhava or amorous spiritual mellows. Krishna is a reservoir of pleasure. That's why he is called Ram. Right? If you see Ramchandra, the son of Dasharath, will he ever make somebody pleased? Just to execute the order of his father, everybody became miserable. Where is the pleasure? The Lord reserved the pleasure between the participants of Ramayana. Who were the participants? They were all devotees of Lord Ramchandra, including Sita. She is Hladini potency. And they executed completely a reverse picture of not pleasure, but of pain. Every experience. Dasarath, Kaushalya, every character became bereft of association of Lord Ramchandra. Almost everybody left. Of course, Sita has to transform into Maya Sita that Ravan can steal. But she is Hladini potency. If she raised her eyebrow, Ravan would have burned to ashes. So, the treatise on Ramayana in South India that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought, he says, this was Maya Sita. Ravan cannot have access to the spiritual form of Mother Sita. Can't touch even. He would have turned into ashes, seeing the wrath of Mother Sita. Ravan could not exist. But yet, to show us importance of obedience to the superiors, will execute for that annihilate the miscreants like Ravan, then return. But he never played pastimes like Lord Krishna. He was very reserved. So either in singularity, which is ideal for human being to follow the character of Ramchandra, that's what they are hankering in India, Ramaraj. Right? But unless and until investment of the character of Ramayana will be there, where will it be? It will be far from the dream to establish Ramarajya. So the instruction in this sloka are meant for this to dissipate the very shadow bhakti, bhakti abhas. If a bhakta is there and if it is attached with dhanam, janam, sundarim, Kavita means glorification. Then he is not a bhakta. His bhakti will not reach. So these are the instructions in the Sikshastakam. That loving devotional service, prema, is far different from the disciplines such as karma, jnana and yoga. At every stage, it is decorated by indifference to them, and its root is dainya, utter humility. An intelligent person should carefully cultivate speech, behavior, and thinking that fix him in utter humility, and anything that stands in the way of it should avoid. When dainya fully matures, prema unfolds without limit. That Prabhupada instituted that those who are newcomers, they have to go through this training. Dainya. Without humility, it's too difficult to cultivate pure devotional service. Therefore, we come, as soon as we enter, we bow down to the deities, to the Guru, who are teaching this. So, temple is a teaching institution. It's not simply fundraiser. Of course, the fund is required, but it is not only meant for that. So therefore, we have regular classes and training programs. We reach out, probably you may not have desire to immediately jump into the bhakti process, but yet we want to encourage each and every one to start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The devotees who have material desires first enjoy material results for which they hanker, and later on, the strength of the devotional service, they enjoy the fruit of devotion. But because that fruit does not at first appear, pure devotees decry what those worshippers first achieve. And fruits are the final products. The flower also is not the final product. The bud is the immediate, when the bud is that, the bud has to grow and in full bloom to invite pollination, and then it will fructify. So in this stage, our behavior should also become mature to fructify the application of the devotional service. And gradually we do that. Pure devotees, after all, think that seeing the Lord constantly attaining bliss from taking part of his pastimes and relishing subsequent pleasures are the fruit of the devotional service and its root as well. Those devotees cannot tolerate even a moment delay in obtaining that fruit, nor can the Lord neglect such devotees even for a moment. So, practice and interactions of the devotee through devotional service with the Lord gradually fructifies, and they have to relish and they have to nurture, and the increments in the pleasure will be there. So we stop here, and anybody has any question or comments so far? I hope it is inspiring, and I wish you can take your ultimate desire to go back home, back to Godhead, all the way to Krishna. And it's a factual situation, not a wishful thinking. If you go a little deeper, then it starts manifesting through the potency of Ladini Shakti, which is devotional service. कोई प्रश्न है हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं. You have question. Yes.
What is the spirit size?
Spirit soul size.
Size.
It is very infinitesimal. If you want to see in Kathopanishad, it is said Balasya Satabhagasya Satadamsya Kalpitasya Chana. As Chitkar means the conscious particle and anti-particle theory is coming here. You know, that if you take the tip of the hair and 1/10,000 part is the chitka. Okay, it is so minute. But because the potency is spiritual, it surpasses material potency and you become alive and you make even the material energy alive. That spirit soul, I can move my hand. Material energy is there, but unless and until spirit particle is there, you cannot move. And that is really you. But you are having that borrowed energy of Chit Shakti or consciousness. It has been given to you by the Super Soul who is sitting even in a minute scale than your size. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. He is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest simultaneously. So, it is existing both ways. Krishna never leaves his Golok Vrindavan, but he sends his emissaries and further expansions and expansion. Vishnu tattvas are expansions of his secondary Chaturvyu, that also not private. That is Sankarshan. There are 24 Vishnu lokas and spiritual world. But from one of the spiritual planet of Vishnu Loka or Vaikuntha, then Karanodakshaya Vishnu comes to become the cause of creation of material existence. How would you understand when the Vedas will tell you in a very condensed form, Sa ikshati, sa iman lokan asrujata. Simply by glance of this Mahavishnu on this inert material nature becomes the Mahadyoni, the great womb of material creation. That is the only one. But then multiple universes, unaccountable of galaxies and multiple universes. How many photographs you have seen of Lord Vishnu? Different kinds of Vishnu. Anybody? Only one kind? Four types.
Three times.
No, 24
Three.
Everyone has a different position. The Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and
Narayana.
Where? Garbhodaksha, no, Karanodaksha Vishnu call it Narayana. Because he is, lying down within the ocean of his own perspiration, what they call it. Most of us do not pay attention to differences that are depicted, and sometimes they overboard. So in South India, mostly Vishnu worship is there by Ramanuja Sampradaya, and they have big temples having either Garbhodakshaya Vishnu or Karnodakshaya Vishnu. Sometimes Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and you can't make distinction. The devatas cannot reach to even Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But yet some people show their surrounding. Now, Vishnu, Lakshmi and Sheshanag, they are the only three there. Devatas have to stay on the shore of Kshirodaksha Ocean. They can't cross. So there are variables in theology of Ramanuja, which is called Vishishta-Advaita. So according to that, they depict the functionality of the Supreme Personality of God when creation of the material world is there. Can anybody tell how is it related to the modern astronomy and the anti-particular theory? Isn't it intriguing? We are orthodox believers and we can't compare to the modern astrophysics and the big experiment that did 12 years back in CERN. Huh? What do you think?
Particle accelerated in the dark matter. The accelerator itself is depiction of some of our temples. And
But what they found? They did photograph, a high resolution photograph. They wanted Higgs boson. They wanted to find out this particle, anti-particle, but there are so many anti-particles. And after 12 years of experiment, they are jobless. किसके बाप की दिवाली? पैसे खा गए सारे, उड़ा दिए. This is the limits of human mind. There were many Indian scientists there, and they used the theory of Kanad Rishi. He was a disciple of Vyasadeva, but Karnbhoji, he is also called Kanad Karnbhoji. He wrote atomic theory. Even Srimad Bhagavatam is describing the calculation of time by displacement of one atom. It's mind-boggling. So our Indian scientists in the Sun laboratory, they were also very busy, applicating the ideas, different ideas, but they all failed. Do you know, still in the Sun laboratory, which has a ceiling of about 40 feet high, they put 20-foot Lord Shiva as Nataraj. They call him Lord of Death. Lord Shiva dancing in Nataraj position, and they hate him. This is the failure of this modern science. हमें तो बहुत मजा आती है. What can you do? Huh? So the whole world is, survival of the fittest. Only the scientists can survive, do you think, and not others? They are bahirmukhi. They extend themselves away from Krishna. We are antarmukhis. We have to reach out the depth of our being. We got mind, intelligence, and ego, and we have to reach within. It will be easy, it will be costless. While those who are going external, they spend, they can't do anything. Even after producing super speedy cameras, they could not do. They captured, but they can't pinpoint. This is called God particle, right? Isn't it funny and amazement? They could have relieved so much poverty from America themselves. Anyway, thank you very much, Prabhupada.
So Guru Maharaj, I have a question that, like if we push for this philosophy, say na dhanam na janam, sundrim na kamim. So at the same time, you also need some material advancement where we reach today, the scientific advancement. You have a computer, you have this microphone. If we shut down all that, then you won't be able to do all that.
Who said that? It will be shut down after the end of Kali Yuga. You better believe.
No, but it helps us in
Yeah, but it's not like that. Prabhupada said, let them create, high-speed, travel system, and we will use it in Krishna's service, not for sense gratification. They want to make it faster and faster, so they can have more sense gratification, more availability at their hands, more money, more this, more that. Do you think greed has any satisfaction?
Yeah, so we can look into it saying that from the very beginning, if you train yourself and say, any advancement I do, scientific, I can offer it to Krishna.
You bet it is. I gave up science. I gave up the research. Because taking a life does not improve a life. Whether it is a scientific experiment or anything.
Maharaj, most of the scientists, when they reach the level of PhD, and then they recognize they are permanently head damaged, so they give up. It is
No, they don't get job, even in high school.
I know that. Right. But at the end of their career, they find out that whatever they didn't give them any satisfaction, or they could not understand anything.
Why? Because that career, educational career, takes you only up to the stomach and nowhere else. Make a career that will transport you from the physical level to supernatural level. That energy is existing. Where we are so much interested in finding the aliens and go to moon and all other places. Is there any spiritual data, anything available there? But in our scriptures, the spiritual data is there. The Devata rules there is called Soma, and he is the son of Brahma. This is not mythology. Modern science is mythology, a failing mythology. Myths. When the two Nobel Prize winning scientists from America in 1959, they postulated this anti-particle theory. And Srila Prabhupada, took up this article published in the Times of India about the award of Nobel Prize to these two scientists, American scientists. They put up 3 propositions in their research. They have not even begun this, the electron bombarding the proton and separating the, antiparticles. No, this is 59. This was the first. They got Nobel Prize. They put up 3 propositions. The first one, they say there exists an antiparticle. So there must be also existing an antiparticular world. Prabhupada said, we agree with this. We agree with this proposition. But the third proposition, they postulated that in given time and space, if these two worlds collide, there will be total disasters. Prabhupada said, we don't agree. The soul is antiparticle. And where the soul comes from is also antiparticular world. Where is the question of, collision? It is within the body and activates the body. Huh? It activates the body. And when it is removed or goes out of its own will, the body is dead. However, the chemical constitution remains the same. So where is the question? So we are interested in antiparticle, and that's completely opposing this material nature. And we have to become free because we are not these bodies. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. So that's the promise. No wonder many universities started recognizing the conscious studies to be implemented. The University of California in Berkeley, we have a department of conscious studies.
Here also we have at UNLV, we have Consciousness Research Center, and I actually wanted to go and talk to the person. He's a physician, and he was only interested in near-death experience.
Right.
That was it.
We also, we have the ties with Bombay University and Pilani University in Rajasthan. They issued PhD on this conscious studies. Yeah, our Bhaktivedanta Research Institute is heading towards all this. Quantum mechanics, quantum theory, that is also applicable in Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you know Srimad Bhagavatam describes the gynecology,
Yes.
astrology, all the astrophysics, so much in detail. So like that. Where do you want to go? You explore. The mind has no limits, but you can explore also in a microcosm, not in a macrocosm. So this is an important, that we are not unscientific.
माइक की तरफ मत घुमाओ announcement कर दो।
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste
शून्यवादी पश्चात्काले सदारिणे प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता मैं करता हूँ आप उनको आ जाओ ये पकड़ो करो ये पकड़ो मैं करो
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare
क्लोज बंद करो।
Divine Grace of Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Samavita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to Assembly Glories, all glories to Assembly Glories, all glories to Assembly Glories, glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya